Okay, I'm recording. So the first thing, tell me about yourself. When were you born?
March 13th, 1929.
Okay. And just tell me the little story about, how you told me about you being the first one in the house and everything born in.
Oh, yeah. Goldie was born. All of them born in covered wagons, but they started with me being born in a house.
Okay, cool. Now, first of all, your dad was?
Charlie Williams.
Okay. And your mom was?
Bertha Williams.
Okay. And to the best you can, list down all your brothers and sisters. I know it's an awful lot.
Well, I can list all of my own brothers and sisters, but my half-brothers and sisters, I don't know them all.
Okay, well that's fine. We can just tell us what you know.
There was Walter, or Leonard was the oldest, and then there was Walter. Everybody called him Big Red. And then there was Elmer, which everybody called him Little Red. And then there was a girl, and her name was Bertha, but she died very young. And then Goldie came along, and then I came along. And then here comes Rex. And after Rex, it's Sally, which her name is Evelyn Isabel, which I did not know until I was grown, because we always called her Sally. And for why, I don't know. She was just Sally.
Okay. And how much do you know about your mother? Tell me the story about her.
Well, all I know about my mom is that she was born in the Indians with her. She was born to Indians, but I always thought she was Choctaw, which later now I have found out she wasn't. But she was in an orphanage until she was 7 years old, and then some people took her. She had, I think, 2 or 3 families that she always told us about, which I don't know about any of them. And
but you remember some of the names, though, right? The last names, because she took.
Well, her birth name was Peyton, or something like that. And then she had a name of Bennett. And I think she took the name of the Bennett until she married. She had another name. Well, she had 3 different ones, but I can't recall the others.
Okay.
But she had the people that raised her, every time she'd get adopted or took out of this orphanage, she would take their names until she married my dad, which they just used her to work on farms and things. And then when my dad come along, he had 10 kids, and his wife had died. So my mom married him, and they was Doc and Desi and Arvie and Georgia and Dad and Arvie and gosh, I can't know all the names, but that's where the lady that's visiting me now, she knows all their names.
Now, when you were born in Choctaw, Oklahoma, right?
No, I was born in Oklahoma City.
Oh, you were born in Oklahoma City.
Raised in Choctaw,
raised.
Oklahoma.
Do you know how old you were when y'all moved to Choctaw?
I think I was about 7 or 8.
Okay.
When we moved to Choctaw, and then we lived there until we moved over there in 1938, I believe, 37 or 38, and could have been earlier, and we lived there until Dad died in 1940. And Mother and us kids lived there about a year later, and then we went back to Oklahoma City. Lived in the same old place that we had always lived at, where I was born.
Yeah. That's cool. Anything else any stories or anything you want to share about either growing up, your mother, your dad, fishing, killing, shooting, you know?
Well, those were kind of days that you don't really want to remember, them days, because we didn't have anything to eat hardly, and they just worked. We didn't get paid for it. We just got something to eat for working.
Okay.
That's all that.
Okay, and then, now tell me about when you got married.
Well, I got married when I was 13 years old. And the first 7, 8 years, it was just like me of being running loose, a little teenager running loose, not doing anything but trying to find a living. And then when Linda came along, then I stayed in one place pretty good because I had a job. And then the same thing with Betty. I was working, and then John, whenever you came along, well, I was living with Golden Clyde at Conrad, Oklahoma. And then after Betty was born, well, I got tired of never having anything and just being alone and just being used. And so I got divorced.
Okay, and you married, who'd you marry though?
Married John Lackey in 1943.
Okay, do you know his full name?
John D. Lackey, Jr.
Okay, because I was John D. Lackey III, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so I got tired of not just working and being used, so I divorced him, and I went to work at a laundry, and my mom was a friend of my next husband that had a fruit market, so he needed somebody to go to work for him, and I was making like $20 a week at the laundry, and he offered me $40 a week to work for him, so I went to work for him and worked for him a while, and then we got married, and we stayed together for 42 years.
Cool. Now, tell me that story again. You told me about the time when you were at the courthouse, you know, for the divorce and everything.
Oh, well, when I went to sign the papers, because I'd went at noon off work, because where I worked you had to wear jeans or pants, and I was in my pants, and the judge wouldn't see me because I had pants on at the divorce hearing. So the lawyer just, I thought, had took care of it for years until Dad went to put me on his VA thing where I'd get his money, and it showed where we had lived together for 40 years that my divorce was never actually granted. So
you lived in sin for 40 years?
yeah, 42 years. But then when Linda started the school, I didn't want you kids to go to school with one name and me with another one. And so we went to before the courts, so the judge let you kids pick the names that you wanted. Of course, Betty was just a baby. She couldn't. And you wanted to Patrick, not because his name was Patrick, it's because your real dad always talked about him being a boxer, and he went as Patrick McShane, and you wanted the name of Patrick.
What, John Lackey went by Patrick McShane?
Yeah, because he boxed.
Oh,
he was a boxer.
Okay.
And until he lost his hand. And Linda, she didn't like Linda Lou, so she asked if she could have Linda Lee. And so that's how y'all's names were changed.
Okay. Well, tell again the story you mentioned about when John D. showed up at the courthouse. You know, when y'all were there, you said he showed up at the courthouse because he didn't want to grant the divorce.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember a whole lot on that, but anyway, the judge went ahead and signed everything. He was there. He was going to sue Pat for alienation of an affection or something, but the judge wouldn't even listen to him, kicked him right out. So.
And they picked him up, right?
Yeah. He went to jail because he had a warrant out for him.
So anything else you can think of?
Stayed in jail all the 9 years we were married. He was in jail, 8 of them. So I mean, off and on. So.
And you were 13, right?
I was 13 when I first.
How old was he?
35.
35.
Or wait a minute, was it 37? Well, he was born in 1908, and we got married in 43. So, 8 from 43 would be 37, I guess it's 35, 36,
okay.
37.
Well, I'll stop it for now, but